Well, the top shot streets are a dangerous place, so you better tune in to a credible face like this one. Yeah, this one. And you know he's not alone, and they're coming in hot. We got a Lake so Stan and a guy who really likes baseball. I don't know why he likes baseball.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. February 2nd, day 2 in the fast break run. I hope everybody ran hot last night. It was a weird one. Spent a lot of time talking about that Lakers-Celtics game ahead of time, and then with Anthony Davis and LeBron sitting, it really changes the landscape of like how the Celtics were going to attack. And clearly they didn't attack. They stayed asleep, so the Tatum stuff killed you. But there is some stuff we can take away from last night. I know we had a long conversation. I'll just spend a minute talking about this before we get into tonight's slate, which is rebounds and blocks. But this is part of like the two different strategies, right? Of like why you needed to, the first, why you needed to use like super upside guys on a smaller slate, right? So we only had 4 games to choose from, and you needed all these points. And when you play somebody like a Jalen Brunson, as Mr. GB Proofs put in the chat, or Tyrese Maxey, you get one of those performances. It allows, it like carries the floor for some of the other guys, right? So that on small slates, it's really important to attack that. Like we have a bigger slate tonight, but tonight's honestly a tough contest, which we'll talk about. But the second thing, which I know is like new for this contest, for this round on Fast Break, is that we have the late swap function. And I talked a little bit about it yesterday, but like last night was such a perfect example of it, especially when you see like the first games kind of fade out a little bit, putting in somebody like Maxey ahead of time, knowing that he provides this like massive ceiling. And then if he gets ruled out, you still have the opportunity to pivot from Maxey to Tobias Harris, who had a good game in his own right last night, but now is going to have the ability to take all the shots because Maxey wouldn't be in. It just provides you the opportunity for like leverage against everybody else in the contest, but that ceiling. So it's just something to keep in mind as we move forward. And it's not always like the most relevant thing. Last night was such a unique scenario because the Sixers were clearly without Embiid. Maxey was coming back from injury. It was the last game. It was like the island of the late slate. So something to keep in mind as we move forward. But it just really does give you such an advantage over everybody else when you attack sections like that. And again, especially because Maxey's ceiling was just enormous, right? But tonight we have rebounds and blocks. And as I mentioned yesterday, it's important to both like highlight the nights that you think, hey, this should be an easy W so we can get a little creative, or nights that are going to be like, this is a really tough win. So instead of selling out on this one, maybe we use some fringe type players to hope that we get lucky and run hot in variance instead of wasting somebody that you could use a little bit later on, because 10 blocks is really tough, right? And we're gonna scroll through underdog first here, and that's what, as GB Proof said, is there even a chance without Wemby and Holmgren? That's what I mean. Like I think if you don't know, like if you don't have those guys, I don't know if it's worth punting some of your other like really solid plays that you could use for a later week. Do you know what I'm saying? So let's go through underdog, and we'll just sort by blocks. Rebounds are a little bit easier to project, but blocks just so tough. And again, to average 2 per player. right? Because for tonight's slate, we need 35 rebounds and 10 blocks. That's 2 blocks per guy, right? So I've sorted the underdog pick'ems here by blocks. We see Kawhi, but that's like a spicy one, right? So Kawhi's basically averaging a block. Paul George, his line is at 0.5. So we're trying to find anybody that's over 2, and I don't think you're gonna. I don't think we're gonna see too many. I think maybe Rudy, maybe Wemby. And maybe Chet. I think Bam Adebayo against Washington is pretty interesting. If you don't have Bam locked in for some other nights, like I do like Bam quite a bit. But like, you're not playing Kuzma. Daniel Gafford, that's another one, right? If you haven't used Gafford or you don't have him locked in, you could just do Bam versus Gafford, run those two guys out. That's kind of interesting here. KD's at 1.5 against Atlanta. Jalen Johnson. I actually don't hate Jalen Johnson if you're not planning on using JJ. I think he could be kind of sneaky there. Capella's one I'd roll out too because I don't really like. What's nice about Capella is Phoenix is dog shit against bigs, and if you like, I don't know when else you're using Capella. So using a Capella or honestly, who else might be a little sneaky is the Atlanta backup on Yeko Kongwu. I think you could get again. This is if you're not really trying to win tonight. If you're trying to just get a little freaky deaky on it, you could do it. Or as we said yesterday, cute, right? When we were talking about Dante DiVincenzo. Sabonis, whatever, Keegan Murray, whatever, like none of this sticks out. Rudy is one though that I do want to get after a little bit. Also, Jaden McDaniels, I don't hate either, but Rudy. So Orlando is not a 3-point shooter. They're not like a 3-point shooting team. They do a lot of their work down low. Now, I know Wemby's a freak, right? And he got like 4 or 5 blocks, I think, against Orlando in their most recent matchup. But because most of their action is done down low, I think you could fire Rudy up here. I think you could see a high variance game from Rudy Gobert if a lot of shots are happening down in the paint. That means there's a lot more block opportunities than normal. So I think you could roll him out there as well. Paulo, Franz, whatever. I don't really care. Yeah, Rudy's over-under is at 2. Maybe you get a 5-block game and he saves you, Wendell Carter Jr., I think you could roll that out if you wanted to, just because you probably won't use him for other stuff. Draymond, I do kind of like tonight. Draymond against the Grizzlies. I just think it's going to be kind of a sloppy-ish game. So I think Draymond, I know there's plenty of other opportunities to use Draymond. So if he's one of your better plays for another game, another night, I almost said game week. Oh my God, my So Rare was bleeding through. You could save on a Draymond, but I kind of like using some of these gross Grizzlies too. Like, I don't know, maybe it's Sean Conchar night. Maybe it's Vince Williams night. Like, again, this is the opportunity to get a little bit weirder if you're not. However, Chet's over-under is at 2.5. So if you do have Chet and or Wemby, like Chet, Wemby, Rudy Gobert would be the elite start here. You see Bridges down here. Big Dick Rich, Nick Richards, you could use him. I don't know. Ingram, Zion, no thank you. Wemby's at 2.5. So again, Wemby clearly like one of the better plays here. I don't really love anything I'm seeing from these fellas. Let's see. Sorry, my watch is going ham. What's going on over here? Let's see. Grant Şengün, he's questionable with an illness though, so that's a little tricky. And that's all we got tonight. So it's a weird slate. So we're going to slide over to Momentum Labs and we'll look at the projections. Also, if you guys, if you are a subscriber to Momentum Labs, something I wanted to point out, John made a little tweak here. Let me blow this up. So he's added this line right here. This little blue indicates a player is in a late game situation. So that's really helpful if you're just thinking about like late swap and stuff like that. But anyways, when we're looking at rebounds and blocks, right? You got here are the only 2 guys. Oh, that's not true. There's 3 guys projecting for over 2 blocks, right? You have Wemby, Rudy, and Chet. So if you have that, then I say, hey, you know what? You can go for it. Go for it. Try to get a W tonight where no one else can get a W and roll out Rudy, Wemby, Chet. If not, though, I think I would save those guys. If you're not rolling out Wemby and Chet, I think I would get weird with, like, again, Daniel Gafford, Clint Capella, Jakob Poeltl, if he plays, I think is a little intriguing. Nick Richards, right? I would try to use these guys that you normally wouldn't use. Like even, who is this? Is this Miles Turner? You could even get away with Miles Turner, and Miles Turner sucks lately on offense. So, like you can get rid of it there. Draymond Green is fine. But again, I think it's pretty straightforward. If you have Wemby and Chet, I think get Wemby and Chet, throw them in there, throw in Rudy Gobert, and then you can do whatever. Jokic, Bam, You play it safe, or you could get rid of your Jakob Pertles, Nick Richards, stuff like that. But if you don't have those three, if you don't have those two in Wemby and Chet, I don't think it's worth wasting any of your other. Like, don't waste your Jokic, don't waste your Sabonis. Just try to get off the board here with Daniel Gafford. Again, Miles Turner. Who else? Do we have anybody else down here? Jaren Jackson Jr. Is that Kevin Durant? Kevin Durant at 1.3. See if there's anybody else gross down here. Drew Eubanks. But that I think it's pretty straightforward here. Gafford and Bam. There you go. Would Wemby still block as many shots if he was 5'3"? That's a great question. Yeah, maybe. Maybe he would. Maybe he would. But I'm not going to spend too much time today. If you guys have any questions about specific guys, let me know. But I really do. I really think this is like pretty. I think you either have Wemby and Chet and you go for it, or you don't and you try to throw some randos out there. Kawhi is sneaky tonight. Yeah, I think Kawhi is fine, right? I will say what's he projected for blocks here? And it's against Detroit, so I don't know. Maybe that's nice. Let me see what Kawhi's projection is. Wait, what's going on here? There we go. Kawhi's projected for 0.9 so just under a block. But again, the only thing is, like, if you think there's another round that you could use Kawhi, I don't know if you want to do it on this one again if you don't have Wemby and Chet, right? Because Kawhi's assist-to-turnover ratio, the free throws, 25 points each, right? Like, there's plenty of opportunities to use that Kawhi if you only have one bite at that apple. So I do think Kawhi's fine, but I don't want to waste it. I have two uses of Rudy. Is there better days to use it? I don't have a Wemby Holmgren. So if you have two uses, I don't have the schedule in front of me. So you might have to look at the schedule. But the other 12 offensive rebounds I like. Honestly, and double doubles. Those are the 20. Honestly, yeah, the double-double and the 12 offensive rebounds, so February 9th and February 13th would be the only other two times I would use them, I think. So, because that's the only one with blocks, right? Also, plus minus would be fine too. So I would double-check the schedule, but this is probably one of the better times to use them. Yusuf Nurkic against Capella, and yeah, he projects for. We got him right here. One block, exactly one block. So, yeah, I think Nurkic is fine. Pirtle is questionable. So, if Pirtle is good to go, Consigliere, he went through practice yesterday and seems like he's trending towards playing, but he is questionable. I forget what time the Raptors play tonight. Let me double check that quickly because although we do have late swaps, so you could put in Pirtle, and if he's good to go, great. And if not, it's Thad Young time. But no, for real. They play, they play at 8 p.m. So we might not have it before lock, but with it being at 8 o'clock, we probably get that news around 7:30. So you could still pivot to anybody in like Golden State, Memphis, Orlando, Minnesota, Charlotte, OKC, that kind of stuff. I think Lou Dort too is somebody that's going to be playing a little bit more, some more minutes. Also, Jalen Williams, JLIN, not ALEN. The one who's not hurt, who's playing, is going to play some more minutes tonight. I feel like he's kind of sneaky because the other J-Dub is out. So I think you could mess around with that. Anybody else you guys want me to look up while we're here? I know this one's a little bit more. This is more of an efficient show, but I do think it's just such a straightforward path that if you don't have those two guys, like there's only 3 guys on the slate that project for over 2 blocks, and you need to average 2 blocks for your 5 guys, right? So if you're not playing those 3, I don't think it's worth wasting them. I think you get weird and try to get out there. And again, you go down that Daniel Gafford, Nick Richards, Jakob Pertl, Şengün if he goes, I think is fine. Jabari Smith Jr., Clint Capella. I like the idea of attacking that Atlanta. I think that Atlanta Phoenix game is going to be pretty fast paced and a lot of offense, but that means there's going to be a lot of rim contests. So Nurkic, Capella, Okongwu, even KD, honestly. But again, I wouldn't use KD tonight because of all of the other opportunities to use him. And then on the other game, the Memphis Green Bay, Draymond Green, the Memphis Golden State game of Jaren Jackson Jr., even Santi Aldama, John Conchar, the Draymond Greens of the world. I think you can mess around over there. So hope this was helpful. The weekend stuff isn't going to, I mentioned that we'll mess around with these weekend contests moving forward, but not this weekend. Once the once I'm able to set up the memberships, which should be any day now, they're just in the review process. Once I'm able to set up the memberships, if you're a part of the Fast Break membership, or there will be a Fast Break So Rare combo one too. You can pick which one. But if you're a part of that, we'll do some membership only streams for the weekend stuff, and then we'll do some like live before lock type stuff too. But yeah, if you guys don't have anything else, let me know. I'll pay attention to the comments throughout the afternoon. So if there's a play that evolves or an injury thing that happens, just drop a comment on this video and I'll come back to it a little bit later. And if you're in the So Rare streets, you can check in live before lock at 5:30 right here on this channel, baby. But hey, day 2 of the Fast Break contest. Hopefully Maxey and Jalen Brunson carried you to victory last night. If not, let's get that dub tonight, huh? Either get your Chet Wemby Rudy combo or get super weird. And best of luck. See you guys on Monday.
Well, the top shot streets